tonight's regularly scheduled city council meeting. If I can ask everybody to please rise for tonight's invocation, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight's invocation will be given by Pastor Marshall Fry of the Celebration Church.
Bow your heads with me. Father, we love you. Jesus, we just lift your name up tonight. God, I pray a hand of favor and blessing over everyone in this room. God, we thank you that you have anointed the leadership in this room. And God, we pray for wisdom for the decision making. For every step that we take, God, I pray it points towards you, Jesus. God, I'm thankful for this city. God, I'm thankful that your hand is on it. And God, I pray that you continue to bless as we continue to point towards you, Jesus. So, Father, this year, I pray that you do incredible things through us as we guide people to you, Jesus. So, Father, we love you. We thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Fry. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Marshall.
All right. First order of business will be to approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting and the work session that were held on August the 9th. Does anybody have any changes, additions, deletions to those minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Mayor Sullivan, your report, please.
Thank you. I have just a couple things. I just want to thank everybody, especially the staff, for being patient and just, I guess with each other being patient, and also with the general public, because we, just like everybody else, are battling COVID. We've had several employees who have been out, and some of our crews have been hit really hard, some of our departments. So just please be patient. If we tell you have to wait a little bit longer, or you have to wait on an answer for something, we're battling that just like everybody else. I've also had a couple calls about the Church Street project, so want to make sure everybody knows that hopefully on September 13th, we'll be moving into the next block on that project. They'll finish that area up from Oak until to Magnolia. And also just let everybody know about the stadium updates that are going on at the football stadium. We have the Jumbotron and, of course, the ADA updates that are going on there. Really excited about this week. We have St. Michael's and the Fairhope Pirates will be playing. So excited about that. And also the work started on the Morphe substation. So the site work has started, and they have been moving some dirt out there. They've also got the temporary roads cut in. Mm-hmm. And so if you see that work going on, you'll know what's happening out there. So I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any timetable for those substations to be, how long?
We actually hope that the majority of the substation work will be done by the end of September. Or at least the site work will be done, and they can start pouring the concrete pad. We have the substation contractors who will leave the area for about 6 weeks, and then they'll come back. So we hope by the end of September they're ready to start pouring that pad, and the substation contractors can start work.
Yeah, so you probably can remind us is that a lot of what's going on with those substation improvements hinge on what goes on at that Morphe Avenue substation, which is why it's so important that that's being,
right,
getting underway now, right? I mean, we
Correct.
can't even quite finish the movement of the Young Street substation from the old location to the new location.
Correct.
Until Morphe work is
until this
complete.
is complete.
Is that right?
So everything has to happen in sequence, yes. So until that's complete, we can't make the one at Young fully operational.
But I'm encouraged that it sounds like they have a plan for their labor force as well. I know we were worried about them going off, and if they're just going off while we're doing some of this site work.
Right, yes, they're going off and they're coming back, and hopefully they'll be able to work at the same time.
Very good. All right, next item is public participation for agenda items only. If you'd like to address the council on agenda items 5 through 27, if you can come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to comment on agenda 5. My name is Emily Johnson. I live on 501 South Mobile Street, which is directly across the street from the Magnolia Beach Park we were talking about having the pop-up picnics.
Okay? Go ahead.
I feel that this is highly inappropriate, that it would be better service to be used at South Park. We do not have adequate parking. We do not have any bathroom facilities. There would be no areas for inside, you know, if it starts raining, there's no place for people to go. But mostly there's no adequate parking. Also, this park is used constantly, every day, almost every hour, and it's full. And I feel like that we're setting a precedent by saying this pop-up picnics. It may be the next week, it could be pop-up hot dog stands, pop-up popsicles. So I think we're setting a precedent, and it would be more appropriate for this facility to be used at, say, at South Beach, near the big pier.
All right. All right.
Because it
Thank you,
does
Ms.
affect
Johnson.
me. There's not parking for it. They park on my side, in my yard constantly.
I hear you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Paige, when we get to that agenda item, we'll address, you know, some of this. I know that I did have a call from another lady this afternoon, and I promised her that I would bring up her concerns, one of which was parking, along with some other concerns, and she couldn't be here tonight, and I made a promise to her to bring that up. Okay? So we'll talk more about that when we get to that. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else for public participation? Okay, I will close public participation for agenda items, and I will remind everyone that you'll have another opportunity to address the council on non-agenda items at the conclusion of tonight's meeting. Council comments. Councilman Robinson.
No comment.
Councilman Conyers.
Just to reiterate something I brought up in the work session comments, I wanted to congratulate Martin Leno on 21 years of service to the Fairhope Library Board, and just thank him for that lengthy amount of time that he volunteered. And as we discussed at our meeting Monday night at the Library Board, he had actually been originally appointed by Mayor Knicks, so he has been with the library for quite some time, and we will be planning a retirement party for Martin. Right now, it's tentatively set for Monday, September 20th. That is subject to change depending on COVID, and is being reassessed every couple of weeks. So if you see Martin around town, thank him, and that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Martin?
Just excited for football to be back in. I went and saw Spanish Fort play Fairhope, and we didn't come out on top this time, but hopefully our next game will be on top. But it was just excited to see the kids actually experience and have a good time, and with all the COVID going on, a lot of these kids are missing out on a lot of high school experiences. So, just excited to see the sports back in action again.
I have a question. I guess I'll ask the mayor. I wanted to ask the department heads during the work session, but we ran out of time. So, and Mayor, you probably have talked to them also. You might be able to just answer this quickly. It's back to the vaccination incentive. What's been our reaction from the employees, and how are they taking that?
I think that it's been positive for the most part. We are not asking, employees if they've taken the vaccine or not.
Right.
Because obviously that's their choice.
Sure.
We are letting the supervisors verify because we feel like that's kind of their family unit. But for the most part, the comments have been positive. We have not had any.
It hasn't caused any
It has not.
conflict,
It
has
has
it?
not.
That's
no.
the one concern.
I think everybody's really respectful of each other. Yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you. All right, I'll close council comments, and we'll move on to item number 5, which is the final adoption of an ordinance to approve an application from Monica Gray, owner of Southern Charm Picnic Company, for a franchise agreement to operate pop-up picnics at Magnolia Beach Park. That's the park with the dolphin structure on South Mobile Street, which was introduced at the last city council meeting. Paige, do you want to address some of the concerns?
Yes, so I definitely think there are some concerns with the parking situation at the Utopia Park or Magnolia Beach Park, the Dolphin structure. However, this park was ideal in the selection of where we did choose for these pop-up picnics to be located. As far as rental goes, we do rent the South Beach Park. We do rent the Henry George Park and the North Beach Pavilion. So ideally, we wanted the franchised agreement to be in a location that isn't a rentable space for the city. So, I don't think the intention for this is to be something that is all ongoing all the time. I mean, I think it's kind of a boutique, small concierge service for. I'm not thinking it's going to be for gigantic parties. I think it's for, 2 to 4 people, maybe 6 people to have a picnic on the bluff. So, I know there are some concerns with parking, but, I don't foresee that being a huge issue. So, staff has looked at it, from police side of things as far as public works goes. We do have, Richard and I looked at it. As far as, will it affect trash or, Monica has assured us that, she leaves the park better than the way she found it. We do have trash receptacles on that bluff. So, at a staff level, we looked at it and didn't really foresee any issues. But again, the major thing was that isn't a rentable space for us. So we're not going to see any conflicts with our calendar.
Okay. I was going to go ahead, counsel, and just address the concerns or mention the concerns by a lady that I spoke to earlier. And the first concern that she raised was the parking. I spoke to Councilman Martin prior to the meeting tonight, and I think that maybe we need to explicitly state in the franchise agreement, and I don't think it would require reintroduction, just simply stating the obvious is that this does not give you any right to preferred parking. Or, you can't block the public spaces for your use, even though you have 4 or 5 people coming to one of your pop-up pickups, picnics. So, that we need to explicitly state that. The other concern was over alcohol being served, and I said, well, we already have ordinances on the books concerning alcohol, and police will enforce those laws. The other concern was for noise, and we have noise ordinances on the books, and police. There's no need in adding language to that when we already have laws on the books that address both the alcohol and the noise, and we can make the parking clear. I haven't had a lot of feedback on this, to be quite honest, and I assured the lady that called today is that, if we give them a chance and it doesn't go the way that we had wanted, we can always undo a franchise agreement. It's not into perpetuity. And I don't think that the council has a problem with, counseling one of these franchise agreements if somebody was to not, if the land was being used in such a way that we didn't see fit for that land. I think everybody would say that.
And I could be wrong, but the franchise agreements have to be renewed when a 3-year. Okay, so on a 3-year.
Well, just to throw out there, nothing would prevent any citizen of Fairhope from going down there and
Correct.
setting up and having a picnic. And it's not that, for clarification for the citizens, this doesn't allow this space to be reserved. It's still a first come, first served basis, and
That's right.
and really what you're paying for this service is you're paying for someone to
Concierge.
do the legwork, set it all up for you, and probably make it a lot fancier than what Jay would set up if he were doing this.
Yeah, I hope that helps a lot. If there's any confusion, as far as what this young lady is trying to do, I think it's really going to be really, really quaint. I don't think there's going to be a mass of people, out of respect to the young lady that spoke, that will be barraging her property. And if that's the case, we'll come back and we'll take another look at that.
Right. So, and I also think that there are, if somebody's going to have a picnic, and they have a right to have a picnic on the public space.
Right.
They can go, and if, as long as they're parking legally, and have a picnic, and they can have cake and balloons and all these other setups, like, I think, was it you, Jay, that said it, or Corey, that somebody else is just doing the legwork
Yes.
for that. And to be quite honest, at least this business owner came to us and asked for a franchise agreement instead of simply going out there and doing it, and us having no idea that somebody's being paid to do that.
Yeah, she did the correct way.
She did.
So, anyway, all right. Any questions for Paige? Okay, this is up for final adoption, so I'll entertain a motion for final adoption.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I hear a motion and a second for final adoption. Any final comments? Okay. Hearing none, clerk, will you call the question, please?
Council President,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item number 6 is the final adoption of an ordinance to establish a non-emergency disconnect fee for the electric department and add Chapter 21, Article 2 in the Fairhope Code of Ordinances. This was also introduced at the last council meeting. Jeremy, you, I believe it's a $100 disconnect fee. I believe this is pretty much an industry standard that electrical utilities have this fee, and we just haven't had it. And I mean, I think it's a labor cost to go out and turn off these electrical services. Can you give us an example of when that might happen?
Yes, sir. So, let's see, there's all kind of examples. Generator disconnection one, you've got homeowners buy generators and we gotta go out and kill the service while it's underground overhead, so they can install that. We've got, one example was a pressure washer. Guy wants to pressure wash his house, he's scared to with the meter being there, kill the service loose. Well, he might not have finished that day, so we come back and do it again next day, that type of thing. Tree services, if somebody's gonna cut a tree down, they want us to come out there and clear the lines so they can make money cutting the tree down. That
So
just
this
takes
is
away
not
from all of our
necessarily a
stuff.
cost that's incurred because you're establishing service or
Right, no,
changing.
services
It's a
are-
convenience for them.
Right, yeah. I don't know what the Joe's doing back there. You all right?
Joe, did you fall, what was that you?
I think
It's okay.
He fell asleep.
Wake up.
Every time I start talking, he falls asleep back there. Killing me. So, yes, so that's what it
Jeremy, you
is.
should stand up, buddy.
Okay. All right. Questions for Jeremy, council?
I just want to make a statement that Jeremy made an emphasis on when we talked about this last session. This cost that we're implementing is below market, by
It
the
is,
way.
yeah.
So just want to put that out there.
I would dare say, maybe not even recovering the true cost that
That's
it
what
costs
I'm-
the city.
I'm just-
It's still a service.
Right,
You're still providing a service.
right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
All right, council, I will entertain a motion for final adoption.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, clerk, will you call the question, please?
Council President.
Aye.
Place 2,
Aye.
place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 7 is final adoption of an ordinance to add Fairhope Utilities' current specifications to all sanitary sewer designs within the city of Fairhope corporate limits and to subdivisions within the planning jurisdiction, and to add Chapter 21, Article 4, sewers in the Fairhope Code of Ordinances. This was also introduced at the last city council meeting. You have any questions for Jason? Or maybe even Hunter? Mostly Jason? Okay, I think this is just adding this pretty simple paragraph there. I believe it says, "The gravity-fed sewer system shall be required unless a grinder pump system is specifically approved by the water and sewer superintendent. Coordination with the utility shall be the responsibility of the developer." Okay, hearing no questions, entertain a motion for final adoption.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for final adoption. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Clerk, will you call the question, please?
Council President.
Aye.
Place 2,
Aye.
place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 8 is an ordinance to approve the annexation of territory within the city limits of the city of Fairhope on Nelson Drive from Scenic Highway 98 east approximately 525 feet. And this would be taking it in from Baldwin County into the city of Fairhope. Would somebody like to introduce the ordinance, please?
I'll introduce the ordinance.
Okay, the ordinance has been introduced. Richard covered this in great detail in the last work session and then again in tonight's work session. Barring any questions for Richard, we will let this lie over for final consideration at the next council meeting. Okay. Item 9 is an ordinance to approve the annexation of territory within the city limits of the city of Fairhope on County Road 98, the Scenic route, or also known as Main Street from State Highway 104, north approximately 1,200 feet from Baldwin County. Would somebody like to introduce this ordinance?
I'll introduce the ordinance.
Okay, your ordinance has been introduced. This, like item 8, Richard covered in great detail at the council work session on August the 9th, and also again tonight. So barring any questions for Richard tonight, we'll let this lie over for final adoption until the next city council meeting. You okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item number 10 is an ordinance to amend ordinance number 522, the creation of a parking authority or parking committee and its membership, qualifications, and terms. I believe that I covered this along with the mayor in tonight's work session. Do you have any questions for the mayor or I in regards to this? Okay. Hearing no questions, if it's okay, we will let this lie over for final adoption at the next council meeting.
Needs
Yes.
to be introduced.
I'll introduce the ordinance.
Okay, well, introduce it then, please. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. I even had introduce right there on my notes and didn't read my own note. Corey, what's up with that?
We're human.
All right. We'll let this lie over for the next meeting for final adoption. Item 11 is a resolution that the Fairhope City Council hereby authorizes the mayor to execute the agreement of sale between the city of Fairhope and Walmart Stores East for the acquisition of 12 acres, more or less, together with all improvements thereon, easements and rights pertinent thereto, and all of Walmart's rights, titles and interest in any public right-of-ways adjoining the property, and to execute and negotiate all documents necessary to complete the closing and to acquire title on behalf of the city pursuant to the agreement of the sale. Marcus covered this. I believe I touched on some items. The mayor touched on some items. Richard, I don't know if you touched on some items, but police chief stood back there, nodded her head, and we talked about the police precinct. So do any of you have any questions for any of those individuals? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to pass this resolution, please.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay. I just want to clarify one thing. What's the purchase price of this?
$100.
Is it $100?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If anybody asks, we're purchasing 12 acres and somebody might
Charity.
want to have.
Charity.
Yeah, right. It's negligible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. Lisa?
Yes, you do.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 12 is a resolution that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the acknowledgement and consent letter to modification of antenna facilities at the PCS site, specifically the T-Mobile site located at 16290 County Road 3 in Point Clear, Alabama. As we learned in the work session, not to be confused with item 13 as I was, item 12 is just a modification. There's no new net equipment on this, so we just allow the mayor to make the modifications to the lease agreement. I don't know that there's any additional rent being paid for this, but we'll allow them to modify, probably modernizing those antennas. So I'll ask for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute the acknowledgement and consent letter.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Item 13 is a resolution that Mayor Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute the Second Amendment to the PCS site agreement as presented between the City of Fairhope and T-Mobile South for the leased area located at 578 Nichols Avenue and Fairhope Avenue. This does include the addition of more antennas And as such, the new lease, along with some more legal jargon, does include provisions for them to pay us, I believe, an additional $500 per month. Any questions? And I'm looking through the agreement. There it is, number 3. Okay, I was just making sure I had that right. All right, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to execute the Second Amendment.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Item 14 is a resolution the City Council hereby approves and adopts the COVID-19 vaccine incentive program for the City of Fairhope for the Fairhope volunteer firefighters, excluding the city employees. They would have been covered under the previous resolution, and all Fairhope public library employees as follows. All the Fairhope volunteer firefighters, excluding city employees who are vaccinated on or before November 30th, 2021, will be compensated $250. All Fairhope Public Library employees who are vaccinated on or before November 30th, 2021 for COVID-19 will be compensated as follows. Full-time employees, $500, and part-time employees, $250. Mayor, would you like to say anything, or Jimmy, you as the library liaison, would you like to say anything?
Just say that I think the library was appreciative of being included in this, and I think it's a good step towards encouraging people to vaccinate.
All right.
Yeah, and the volunteer fire department was also very appreciative to have this benefit, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Very good. And I stated in the work session that these are both groups of people that, you know, through the course of their job, have to come into contact with people, mostly whether they want to or not. So this, you know, they have freedom of choice. If they choose to get a vaccination, they will be given that incentive pay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve and adopt the COVID vaccine incentive program.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, Councilman. Item 15 is a resolution that the governing body of the City of Fairhope hereby rejects all bids for bid number 031-21 on-call services for water and sewer. Lisa, was I the only one that you gave that piece of paper to that said
Yes.
item
Yes, it was.
16? Okay.
Just so you could make that announcement.
All right, so basically, it does strike out the portion, if you have it on the resolution, that authorizes the mayor to negotiate a contract with the one bidder. That will come along on item 16. So, any questions about that?
What number?
We're on 15.
There's a portion of the actual written resolution that authorized the mayor to negotiate the contract with the one bidder, but that was not intended for this resolution.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Any questions for Jason? Okay, I will entertain a motion
So
to
moved.
pass the resolution.
Second.
Okay. And since we didn't have to amend it, we just struck through that before it was adopted and placed on the agenda. I think we were fine with not having to amend that item. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Item 16 is slightly different. This is a resolution that the governing body of the City of Fairhope hereby rejects all bids for bid number 11-21 to refurbish the wells number 2 and 9 for the water department, and authorizes the mayor to negotiate a contract with the one bidder pursuant to the Code of Alabama. This one does authorize the mayor to negotiate with the one bidder. And then that will be brought back to us for a final consideration, so we'll have one more bite at that to whether or not to award the bid or not. So, any questions? Any questions for Jason on this? I think he covered this in detail during the work session. Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. All right, Item 17 is a resolution that the Mayor Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute change order number 1 to bid number 34-20 masonry and concrete work for ADA compliance at Municipal Stadium for the following 3 functional and structural changes: brick veneer, the existing block wall into each end of the home side grandstand, pump concrete into the existing block wall by demolishing the top block course. There was a structural concern uncovered during the demolition phase, and install all brick row locks in place of the 4x6 galvanized steel angle iron, requiring all the concrete to be poured prior to brick installation instead of in 3 phases. This is an increase cost of $13,600 for the project, and awards the change order to Calabo Construction LLC. I'll entertain a motion for this resolution.
So moved.
Please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll just go back to the discussion in the work session that we're going to all be notified, and when we have something that needs to be done very quickly, and the mayor will, get a straw poll, and we won't have to go through that again. And the mayor, forgive me for calling it out, but I just trying to do my job, Mayor. No, nothing personal. All right, we have a motion and a second. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 18 is a resolution to award bid for covered slip roof and framing repairs at the Fairhope docks for the Public Works Department to Green Co. Services with a total proposal of $32,965. And as Richard said, that's below what we're receiving from the insurance for that. So good job on that. We don't get to say that very often, so I'll entertain a motion to award the bid.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to award the bid for the roof. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 19 is a resolution to award bid for the Knicks Center repair and replacement of asphalt shingles and TPO roof of the Community Affairs Department to Roof Doctor of Alabama with a total bid proposal of $133,600. This is also being covered by insurance. This is a Hurricane Sally claim. So Richard covered that in the work session. If you have any questions, please ask. If not, I'll entertain a motion to award the bid.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to award the bid. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Item 20 is a resolution, the City of Fairhope vote to procure services to recable the 35 total drops of Cat 6 cabling and accessories for the wastewater treatment plant. It is an unbudgeted maintenance work discovered during the move of the electrical panel, and the cost will be $14,627.60. As Mr. Montgomery informed us during the work session, as he said, it was uncovered when they moved the electrical panel. This company did work for the police department. They were very pleased with that, and the treasurer says we do have money in the wastewater funds to cover the cost of this. Any questions? I'll leave anything out, Jeff? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to award the cost.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 21 is a resolution. The City Council hereby adopts a transportation plan pursuant to the Rebuild Alabama Act. The anticipated allocation from the Rebuild Act fund for the first fiscal year will be approximately $100,000. And as Mr. Johnson let us know, this is a plan to let the government know where the 1 cent gas tax that's collected will be spent. This is updated every year. We take roads off that have been resurface and add those that we plan to do the following year.
Yeah,
We
and
just
those,
gotta keep up with that.
I saw that list on the bulletin board in City Hall. If anybody in the public wants to see that list, it is posted.
Richard, do we get to all of those every year, or do we sometimes, if we don't make it through the list, they just go on to next year's?
It's just basically
to be able, you know, we get 4 and 7 cents, it's not restricted, it can be used on any resurfacing, but the new money, we have to pre-announce that, so that money is spent on one of those roads.
It's earmarked.
So it's earmarked to be spent on
Yes.
roads, so we put those roads on the list so that they're there. And so, at this point in time, I think on that list, the color coded one you got showed what our goal is for the next 5 or 6 roads to do, but there's more roads on the list than we have money to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. All right. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the transportation plan.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Councilman Martin, regarding gas tax?
There's more money out there. We just have to do it. You knew I was going, you baited me.
I did bait you right into that.
You knew I wanted to say it.
I was giving you a platform, Councilman
There
Martin.
is more money out there. I think we're the only city that is not pulling from that money so that we can have money to do those roads. In my opinion, in my heart, I think we should go get those monies, and so we're able to do those roads that Mr. Richard is talking about.
So what does a 1 cent gas tax bring into the city, Richard? I mean, I guess it's linear, so whatever.
It's our volume.
It's projected this year will bring in $100,000, is that correct, Kim, roughly thereabouts?
Is that per penny, or is that really a 1%? What is that?
This is the additional 3 cent, and actually it goes up to 6 cents gas tax that was added last year.
Yes.
So it's the gas tax added last year, and then there's this big calculation that the state then gives City of Fairhope their portion, Daphne, Baldwin County. It's a major calculation from the state, and that's just our portion. And what Mr. Martin's talking about is if we had a 1 cent gas tax for the city as a local tax.
Is that, I mean, can you just put some projections in our box as to what 1 cent? And like I said, it would be linear, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be around $100,000. I believe City of Daphne has 2 cents, and theirs is running, I think, around 200,000.
I saw 400,000.
Is that per gallon? Is it just 1 cent per gallon?
One is a penny on a gallon.
Okay. All right. Not fee, it's just, it's a true, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Baldwin County's 5 cents, or here 5 cents, that's on a gallon of gas. Even though the price of gas may be $2, $3, it's just 5
Yeah.
cents. That number, just because the price of the fuel goes up, that dollar does not go up as 5 cents.
That's exactly.
Okay. And we have authority to pass, is it like unlimited, or is there a cap, or?
Yeah, it goes up to what, 6?
I'm not sure. I have to go
Yeah,
look at it.
yeah, it's 4 or 6. It goes up to 4 or 6, I believe.
So if you did a penny, that's basically 1/3 of a percent of the cost of 1 gallon. If a gallon's $3 now, right? Roughly 1/3 of a percent,
Yeah.
0.003
Yeah.
then. Okay.
It's volume.
Just putting that out there,
Yeah.
because Councilman Martin has been championing that since he's been on the council.
There's only 2 cities in Baldwin County that does not have their own local gas tax, which is Fairhope and Perdido Beach.
That's it.
Okay. Lisa, I'm sorry, when we start talking, we have a motion in a second, right?
Yes, you do.
We haven't voted yet, right?
No, you have not.
Okay, all right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 22 is a resolution. The mayor is authorized to engage and employ Apple Signs, Inc. to install certain components of the football scoreboard at Majors Field in the amount of $16,500, and said amount shall be deducted from the contract with the Electro-Mech Scoreboard Company. So this is just a net neutral to the city. It doesn't cost us any more, and Marcus may want to get into it, but I believe it has something to do with the licensing of the company, and due to the licensing arrangements, Apple Sign is needed to come in and install certain components. That simple? Any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to engage and employ Apple
So
Signs.
moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Item 23 is a resolution the mayor is authorized to engage and employ Bowen Auger Services to drill and install certain steel beams embracing at Majors Field in the amount of $22,257. Said amount shall be deducted from the contract with Electromech Scoreboard Company. Same as item number 22, net neutral to the city. Brown Auger Service will do the work that Electromech was going to do, and that was due to some licensing, licensing agreements that they had. So anyway, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to engage and employ Bowen Auger Services.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, the motion carries. Item 24 is an appointment to the library board. The nominee for a 4-year term is Andy Parvin to fill the unexpired term of Carol Wilson for a term that shall end December 2024.
Who did he say?
I'll entertain a motion for the appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Library board's in favor.
Okay, so thank Andy's willingness to serve. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Clerk, do we have a motion?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, all right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 25 is a request of Mary Reiser, Executive Director of the Fairhope Film Festival, requesting permission to close South Summit Street between Fairhope Avenue and the end of the fence on the property at 6 South Summit on Saturday, November the 13th, 2021, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the red carpet party and the use of 10 barricades, 6 to 8 trash cans, and the electric power hookup. Also requesting use of the Welcome Center on Section Street as their box office from Thursday, November 11th, 2021 through Sunday, November the 14th, 2021. Times are listed on the letter of request, which you have in your package, council. Also requesting use of the city public grass space at the Fairhope Clock as headquarters and hospitality area, and permission to place the following signage: the pole banners on each of the city's 16 banner light posts, temporary signs at each of the 2 roundabouts, and small temporary flags in the CDB bedding areas. I guess I would like to ask, do we have, are all of those banner posts available to them during that time? Okay, so we might want to modify that request. What is available?
It just depends on what's going on during that time, honestly.
Can we say up to 16 then, depending on availability?
We don't even have 16 spaces, I don't believe. I think there's only 12 spaces.
Yeah. Can we say spaces that are available? Or, I don't know.
I don't know that we've ever hung more than 6 for any one organization.
6.
So I would say 6 would be a good number. And if there's other availability, we can certainly look at it, but.
Right.
Okay, so if you just strike, this is just a request, so this is fairly informal. If you can just strike through and 16 and put 6 banner light posts or more subject to availability.
Right.
And then the temporary signs at each of the 2 roundabouts, and then the small temporary flags in the CDB bedding areas. Do we allow signs in the bedding areas? I thought that we had an ordinance preventing signs in the bedding areas.
Why do we have to put signs?
We do have an ordinance. The sign ordinance would prevent that. I do think that the code enforcement officers do a good job as far as picking those signs up. And the film festival every year has put those signs out, and then they'll pick them up right after the event. So I think, you know.
Are they just small? I mean, they're not, you know, we had a lot of yard sign. You know, we had realtor signs in the flower beds and directional signs. Could we say small temporary flags in the CDB bedding areas subject to approval by the code enforcement officer? And that way we have a little bit of discretion. It's not taking the right away from them, but, you know, because if we authorize it and they come back to be
If you authorize it, then the code enforcement officer's not going to
Exactly.
pick it
They're
up.
not gonna-
Yeah,
right.
they're not going to pick it up.
So should we say?
I would just put in there, subject to the discretion of the code enforcement officer.
Well, the question is, Council President, does the council want them to be able to put the signs?
Right,
in
that's
there?
true. You don't
So
have to put that in there.
That's the question. And
You can
then if
strike
we-
that out.
If we do, then it's not going to be enforced. But we should put language to say, since we're allowing this precedent, that they should remove them, to make sure that they remove those signs at the end, which I think Mayor said they do anyway.
They typically do.
So-
And they usually put them down for like different venues that are in downtown. They'll put the sign out and then they'll pull it back up.
They're just trying to point them to where the event's
They're
happening at that
directional
time.
signs.
Right.
I think we should just leave that phrase in there then.
Yeah.
Okay. And it does say temporary.
Yeah.
And they also have flags on there. I don't know if Mary Reiser intended for city crews to put up and down those flags within the CBD, because I'm assuming they are wanting them on our, like right above where we normally hang our flower, like our hanging baskets.
Is that maybe what they're talking, when they say they're small temporary flags, is that what they're saying? So they're not in the bed, they're up on the post.
Oh.
That changes.
That's us putting them up for her.
I believe that is what they're asking.
Whoa.
That's something
That is something new. They are wanting a more festive feel during that weekend, and I think they see, sometimes when we put, really only other thing that we've put up other than American flags has been the breast cancer flags that we've done during the month of October, and the pirate flags on Friday, or on home game weekends. So I believe that is what they're asking for.
I can't imagine those flags look bad, though. If we put up pirate flags for football games, I can't imagine those flags.
The
Now,
question is, do we have the
Might overlap some.
staff to do that? Well, that's the question.
No, football season's over.
Are we
not
taxing
over.
our employees
Is it
is the
really?
question, is all I have.
I mean,
Seems early.
Yeah.
I don't mind,
we,
but I would.
And are we, maybe setting a precedent for,
Well, we're going to
Right.
get into it on, let me say this, on the next request, I believe that we typically don't do work for organizations
Right.
such as putting things out, but in this case, if it's up on a pole, who puts the banners up? Don't we put the banners up? We've typically put the banners up because people can't access the locations for the banners.
Jay, I hear you.
When you start making concessions.
Right.
And doing things you've never done before.
Right.
For one group,
Right.
then the next group wants it, and you can't, if you've done it for one, you can't say no to the next.
It's a domino.
I don't know, I agree with you. Putting the banners up is no different than putting the flags up, in my opinion, because we're not gonna give access to these poles to just anybody.
I think that's the leg we have to stand on, is that we don't give access to these poles to anyone. We've been putting these banners up, and who's putting them? We're putting the flags up, the city crews put the flags up for the football game?
we do. I believe Paul Merchant, no?
Paul Merchant used to.
He's not here anymore. Jamie,
May
you
not
got to
happen.
talk to Jamie about that.
Yeah.
James' affiliation,
Right.
So what do you think, Jay?
I don't. You set precedent. Can they not put,
I think the precedent, if it's a big enough event, then.
okay,
we
I'm
do
good
it.
with it. As long as we're not taxing our city employees. That's
And
the
the other
only
thing
thing
I would say is limit the number of flags. Like maybe you only do 8, so they're
Yeah, I
at
mean,
the
it
main
says-
intersections in town instead of, how far do you go, or just
Right.
4 at that main intersection.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you do,
It doesn't say anything about number on here. It just
Right.
says- So,
Yeah.
And maybe
So
just
let's
do
be
4.
specific, right? That way we know we're not taxing our
Well,
employees.
unless but then it says small temporary flags in the CDB bedding areas, but are they going to be in the bed and on a post? It specifically says bedding areas. It
I
doesn't say
think they're-
post.
I was under the assumption that they were referring to the flags above the beds, the flag posts that are above the hanging baskets and the beds downtown.
Is there anybody here from the film festival that could clarify? I hate to make such a big ordeal out of this, but it does impact other requests.
Set precedent.
We have time to clarify if we need to.
Yeah, that's what I was
And bring it
gonna ask.
back.
Do we have
Yeah.
to do this right now?
Yeah, we have time to clarify
Can
and
we
bring it back.
Yeah, let's table it.
Let's
so
table it.
So we can get
Oh,
clarification.
we
I make a
could-
motion to table.
I think we could say, subject to the mayor's discretion, and just let her deal with it. I mean, they don't have to come back.
Hey,
That was a lot to read right there. I don't know if I can read that. That's half a page.
You see,
Can we do that on all the hard
Isn't
ones
that
from here
something?
on out? Just-
I think if you say small temporary flags in the CDB, subject to the mayor's discretion.
Okay.
I can handle that.
I think,
How about that?
Sounds good.
very good.
Sounds good.
All right,
We're good.
so the request is everything that you read, except the pole banners on each, pole banners on 6 of the city's light posts or more, subject to availability, temporary signs at each of the 2 roundabouts, and small temporary flags in the CDB bedding areas, subject to the mayor's discretion.
Amen.
All right, can I have a motion?
So
to grant
moved.
that request? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right. Item 26, the request of Alicia Cersei. You got a letter missing in there, Alicia. You almost made me mispronounce that. Cheers to 25 years, co-chair. Requesting permission to block off a portion of downtown for their fall fundraiser. The Fairhope Educational Enrichment Foundation is requesting a street blockade on October 22nd, 2021 at the intersection of Fairhope Avenue and Section Street. The use of barricades needed to block the street at the approximate junctions on Section Street at the alleyway just before the Visitor Center, Section Street at the bookend, Fairhope Avenue to Church Street, and Fairhope Avenue at Bancroft. Additional barricades are requested for alleyways and parking lots. A portion of the barricaded area is being requested for the VIP parking and handicap parking, and including the parking lot adjacent to Jewelwin's. The event will begin at 7 p.m. and end at 12 a.m., but request permission to begin setting up the event prior to 5 p.m. and to extend past 10 p.m. Also requesting permission to serve alcohol for the duration of the event in accordance with ABC guidelines. Permission to promote the event utilizing the downtown lamp post banners starting 2 weeks prior to the event, and the use of up to 17 barricades, 20 blue trash barrels, and electric power hookup. All right. Now we have to pick this request apart. 17, where did it go again?
It's at the
The downtown lamp post banners. Do you have to put a limit on that? Should you say 6?
6 or 8?
Yeah, same number. What we do for one, we do for, I mean, you know, yeah.
Okay, utilizing 6 downtown lamp post banners. Can we just say or more subject to availability? Or more subject to availability?
October and November tend to be the busy event season, so typically those pole banners, there's not going to be enough room for all the events, is the problem that we have.
Right.
That's
So
why we started
6.
limiting it, yes.
Okay. It says the use of up to 17 barricades. You know, I hate to tie a number into that. What if you wound up needing more for intersections or something like that? I just take the word 17 out.
Yeah, just barricades to block the road.
Right.
Right. And the use of barricades for traffic crowd control. And then there's no number on that.
And the same, I mean, how did they come up with the logistics as far as the specific numbers? Is there an algorithm they use? Because they got 20 blue trash cans as well.
They just probably doing it.
I would say blue trash cans
That's
as
what I'm
needed.
saying. That's
right?
my point.
Blue trash cans as needed. And that
A
way,
little less specific. Huh?
Right.
right.
I would guess that Mrs. Cersei has done her calculations on what she thinks she needs.
That's what I'm asking him. She may know exactly. I mean,
I have a poor memory, but I don't remember inserting the numbers in there. My memory could have failed me.
yeah.
So, council also, just to add to that request, I had Lisa include in your package an email from Alicia to me this past Sunday and it was talking about the street closure, and just so for clarification, if it's not exactly as written there, Section Street at the alleyway just before the visitor center, Section Street at the bookend, Fairhope Avenue to Church Street, and Fairhope Avenue at Bancroft Street. So I believe the only intersection that's completely closed to traffic will be right there at the clock corner of Fairhope Avenue and Section Street. So the barricades will be on the west side of Bancroft, where Fairhope comes into Bancroft. So traffic could come down Fairhope and go left or right to go around town there. And then the same thing at Church Street. People could go north-south on Church Street through the light at Fairhope Avenue. So the barricades will be on the east side of that street. And then, I don't know what that looks like exactly on Section Street. I guess you barricade at the bookend so people could access De La Mar, right? They can still come through town, turn down De La Mar so it's not blocked off. And then if you block off the alleyway just before the visitor center, that's Chief, I wonder about that, because if people are allowed to come through the light at Magnolia traveling south, they're going to be stopped by barricades, and then they're going to have to turn around.
This might be a little bit better
Yeah.
understanding of what we're looking at.
Well, so you're going to put barricades there at Magnolia?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, you have the use of Section all the way to Magnolia. But if you guys wanted to put some barricades closer in the street just to confine your crowd so that they're not stretched out over, too thinly, I guess. Strategically, you could put barricades within the barricades there, right? I know that, I think we can allow everything that's in the request as written here. We cannot waive the security fees. We have an ordinance prevents us from waiving true costs. We talked about it in the work session. If we're paying people such as the police to be there, we can't waive that hard cost. The soft costs, usage of the streets, things like that. We don't charge for barricades anyway, but we can waive those soft costs, but we can't waive those hard costs. So not in here, and we can't waive the if there's a cleanup deposit, but if it's not necessary to clean up, right, we don't keep any of that deposit. That's only if, and that's standard, so that can't be waived. But if you clean up, there's no cost to that. Also on there, it says people needed to set up the barricades and people needed to clean up afterwards. We can't provide city employees to do that, okay? Just so you know, there's just an ordinance preventing that. And as I said, Alicia, if you want to get with the police further and talk about your security costs, so you pay what you need and not any more than that. I mean, just looking after your money on that.
I mean, should they get with Dale on the cleanup as well? I mean, as far as logistics, since it's in the streets, I mean, how does, you know what I mean? I mean,
I think that the street sweeper could come through there
That's what I'm
afterwards,
asking.
if necessary. I think that might be a call that we would have to make at that time. I mean, they clean up after Mardi Gras parades.
that's what I'm asking. And I
So,
think
but there's a
that's-
cost that they pay for those streets. I think that would just be something that probably the mayor would say, it needs to be swept.
Yeah, and Paige can work all that out with them.
That's- I'm just- okay.
When she's meeting with them and talking about it, and with
Very
Dale.
good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And the Sherry Swartz of PD, they handle that.
One other thing, I didn't see it in here. I think that we possibly might need to waive the noise ordinance. What did that say it's going to? The event begins at 7 PM and ends at 12 AM. So, Chief, am I right? Wouldn't we need to, if they're going to have a band playing in the streets, would we need to waive the noise ordinance from 10 PM to 12 AM?
Can we wait?
So
When you say waive the noise ordinance,
allow the music to be amplified until midnight as opposed to ending at 10 PM, because I'm pretty sure they'd be violating the noise ordinance between 10 PM.
Council President?
Yes.
There's an exception.
For the CBD,
There's an
right?
exception
Exception for
to
the-
the noise ordinance that says if you guys approve an event, then it is.
Then it's
exempt.
automatically
Yes.
so we
inclusive?
wouldn't have to wait.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to do a separate, it's already included in it. Okay, Alicia, what was your?
I was just gonna comment that our goal is to have the band finished by no later than 10:15.
That's no fun.
You know, I'm all about fun, but as I'm saying this, I'm realizing the limitations necessary to have the right kind of fun. But the band would go no later than 10:15, and I put that midnight in time, ideally to get everyone out, of course, around that time, but then also I was thinking cleanup, mainly having the streets closed at least to that time, because we'll need to break down any stages, chairs, tables, until at least midnight, if I have to assume.
Right. Okay. And all that's taken care of as Lisa, I guess. Thanks for clarifying that, Lisa. So we don't need to include that. If you ask till 12, it'll be waived until 12, just in case somebody decides they'll pay $500 more for the band to play another 2 hours. And they make some huge donation to fee for allowing it, you know.
I do have a question. Do we have to address or need to address what time the streets close specifically? Because I know that she's going to need, we spoke today on the phone, she's going to need a few hours to get everything set up. And it's going to take us from at least an hour to get the streets cleared
Do you
and
think
closed
5
off.
PM?
That's not going to be enough time.
Okay.
When we talked today, we were thinking,
What day is that?
yeah, Friday.
School has to go.
Yeah, so you're talking,
So we spoke earlier today, and our request was to have it available to us to start moving stuff in by 4 o'clock. I essentially giving like a 2.5-hour window for any lighting, staging, tables, all that good stuff. What realistically would be, and it was shared with me, like,
4:30,
really an
yeah.
hour to get the streets cleared is a realistic time
Yeah.
frame for you guys.
so you're looking at 3 o'clock if she's talking about setting up at 4.
No, that's, with school traffic, it's 4:30, 4:45.
I don't think we can go any earlier than 4.
Yeah, you could maybe phase the closing, based on where you're gonna set up tents or set up staging, maybe do that.
Okay.
If y'all have the position of the stage, if y'all want it, in front of GG&J, so you can close that portion right here at the park. Don't let the street light.
But leaving Section Street at least open through traffic would be important, and church.
As long as you can.
Right, as long as you can.
Okay.
And we're gonna do, make sure we market it to the principals heavily, so that the parents would understand what's going on.
And council, they can't ask, but I can ask. Their rate for the street rental is $225. And I think as a token of our appreciation of what they're doing for the kids, we should waive the $225. Because that's a soft cost. I mean, the streets, we're not paying the streets to be there. Would y'all consider that in the request?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay. All right. Okay, you got all that down now, Lisa?
Yes, I do.
So the request is everything that I read, except for 6 downtown lamp post banners or more, subject to availability.
Excuse me, Council President, Miss Cersei.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. But we would love to hang bunting, like flag bunting and potentially cafe lights across the streets in certain sections. Is that a realistic request in terms of
What I have been told by staff, just to be very honest, is that they don't look on that real favorable. That's a pretty tough, and Mayor, you've talked to staff. You want to back me up on this? I feel bad. I mean, I'd love to say yes to everything, but just being honest, I've been told that request is not one that they would like to fulfill.
Yeah. And I'm assuming y'all are talking about going across the street?
In like the entryway section, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to get permission from the buildings because we don't own all the buildings, and then to be able to string that across the street, it's pretty labor intensive, the weight of it and stuff, and we really just, to be honest, don't have the staff or the time to do it.
I wouldn't ask you guys to do it.
I mean, if y'all were gonna bring a lift in and do it yourself, but it's also gotta be taken down the same evening, so,
And it's got to be put up.
yes.
You know, I don't know, you'd have to shut streets down to put it up, so it's got to be put up within that time allotted.
I don't necessarily have all the logistics planned out right now, like it's a pie in the sky idea. In terms of the bunting, it's just cloth, lightweight, little triangle bunting, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I tell you what we can do. I tell you the quick way to get through this is if you want to work with the mayor and you want to work with Public Works with no promises from the council, and, you know, you have more meetings to come to before this, but you would have to convince them that it's doable, if you don't mind. So rather than hold up the rest of this request, I'd rather approve this request as we've modified it, and then, you know, deal with that a little later. Is that fair enough? Because I think the answer would probably be no to that.
But we'll obviously work with you to do whatever we can do.
Yeah, and to give you some breathing room to work on that idea, but but not making you any promises on that.
Right.
I mean, the staff is, you know, they're overworked, you know, really, right now. It's tough. It really is. Okay.
So what amendments do we need to make?
So it was the 6 downtown lamp post banners or more, subject to availability. The use of barricades, you got rid of the word 17. Blue trash barrels, got rid of the number. The waiving of the street rental fee of $225.
So I would like to make a motion to make the amendments on the trash cans, the barricades, the street wave.
Yeah.
And did I miss something?
Yeah. I think you can make a motion to pass the request subject to those changes. This is not real formal.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second? All right, any more discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of granting the request, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, thank you. Item number 27 is an application for a special events license or an alcoholic beverage license by Thomas B. Mcgregor, doing business as Top Shelf Bar Services for the Masquerade Ball Fundraiser located at 1 Bayou Drive, which is the James P. Knicks Center, Fairhope, Alabama, on October the 9th, 2021. Chief, do you see any reason to deny this application? Okay, all right, Council, I will entertain a motion to grant the application for the special events license.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of granting the license, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Public participation, if you have anything else to bring forth before the council, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please. Seeing no one, I will close public participation, and I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right, we're adjourned.
Just kidding.